All right, so, everybody wants to be successful, right? And maybe even a little bit rich. Maybe a bit rich. Um, and well, today we're diving into this article. It's called 15 Signs. Someone is destined to be rich and successful. We're going to unpack some of these signs and really, pull out the insights that you can use in your own life. No get rich quick schemes here. Just some, fascinating food for thought.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting about this article is that it really dives into the mindset of wealthy people.
Hmm.
It's not just about the actions, it's about how they view the world, how
Wow.
they approach challenges.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. The first sign is prioritizing focus over pleasures.
Yeah.
And, the article gives an example of Gary Vaynerchuk, how he spotted the artist Boy early on, before she blew up.
Mhm.
And what struck me was this idea of investing in a vision.
Yeah. Playing the long game,
Yeah,
right? Understanding that you have to delay gratification, those instant dopamine hits that we all love so much. But you sacrifice that for something bigger down the line.
that actually makes me think about all the times that I get sidetracked, just checking emails or, going on social media. What are some practical ways that we can kind of avoid those distractions and really focus on our goals?
Well, one strategy is to identify your peak productivity times.
Yeah.
When do you feel most energized and focused? Block out those hours for deep work on your most important tasks and eliminate distractions during that time. Maybe even put your phone in another room.
That's a great tip. I definitely need to try that. The next sign, money as freedom, not luxury. This one really made me stop and think. It's like that key analogy, right? Money unlocks doors.
Gives you choices.
You're right.
It's about having that control to say no to things that don't align with your vision and to say yes to the opportunities that excite you.
I like that. So it's not about just buying fancy things.
Right.
It's about having that autonomy to shape your own life.
Exactly. What does financial freedom look like to you? What doors do you want to unlock? When you see money as a tool for creating that life, your entire perspective shifts.
That's powerful. Okay, so the third sign, this one might be a bit tougher to swallow. It's about being comfortable with discomfort.
Ah, yes, embracing the struggle. The article, points out that successful people often choose to walk instead of driving. They cook instead of ordering takeout. They're okay with a little bit of inconvenience.
Do you think that's more about discipline or is that mindset?
I think it's a bit of both.
Don't worry.
There's a psychological element at play here. But choosing short-term discomfort, you actually build mental resilience. It's like building a muscle. But it also requires conscious effort and discipline to resist those temptations.
That makes sense. So instead of reaching for that instant gratification, you're delaying it to achieve a bigger reward.
Exactly. What if you challenged yourself to embrace one small discomfort each day? It could be taking the stairs instead of the elevator or skipping that expensive latte. Those small choices can have a ripple effect.
I love that challenge. Now let's move on to sign number 4. Unshakable belief in their vision.
This is all about self-belief. Even when the world doubts you, it's about visualizing your success so clearly that it feels inevitable, even if it means lying to yourself a little bit in the beginning.
So it's almost like having faith in something that hasn't happened yet. How do you cultivate that level of unwavering belief?
Well, for some people, it comes from a deep sense of purpose or passion. For others, it might require a bit more conscious effort. One strategy is to write down your goals and read them aloud every single day. It might feel silly at first, but it starts to rewire your brain to believe in those possibilities.
Yeah, I've heard that visualization is also powerful, like actually picturing yourself achieving those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. What does your success look and feel like? Imagine yourself in that scenario. Engaging your senses makes it even more real.
Okay, this next sign is really interesting, especially for those of us who are just starting out. It's about early experimentation.
Highlighting the importance of getting started, even if it's something small. Think about those teenagers flipping sneakers online or building a YouTube channel. They're learning valuable lessons through hands-on experience.
It's like diving in and figuring it out as you go. But there's so many things you could try. How do you choose the right experiment?
I think it's less about finding the perfect idea and more about taking action. What are you curious about? What skills do you want to develop? Start with something that genuinely excites you, even if it's just a small side project.
So don't overthink it, just get started. What's one small experiment you could try this week?
Maybe you could write a blog post about something you're passionate about, or learn a new skill using an online course. The key is to start building that momentum.
Okay, so sign number 6 is decade thinking, which sounds super intriguing. What exactly does that mean?
Thinking long term, beyond just tomorrow or next month, it's about planning your actions around where you want to be 10, even 20 years from now. Successful people have that long-term vision guiding their decisions.
So it's like having a roadmap for your life. Right.
Exactly. Instead of just reacting to circumstances, you're proactively shaping your future. What would your 10-year plan look like if you knew you could achieve anything?
That's a powerful question. I think a lot of us get caught up in the day-to-day and forget to step back and think about the bigger picture.
It's easy to lose sight of those long-term goals when you're bombarded with immediate demands. But successful people carve out that time to reflect, to reconnect with their vision, and to make sure their actions are aligned with that long-term plan.
So it's about being intentional and proactive. Okay, now this last one might hit close to home for some of us, especially those of us who love a good social media scroll.
You mean creators over consumers?
Exactly. How successful people use social media differently. They're building their brand, engaging with their audience, not just passively scrolling through their feeds.
It's a crucial distinction. Are you spending more time consuming content or creating it? The shift from passive to active is a hallmark of those who build wealth and influence.
That makes me think about how much time I waste just scrolling through my phone. What are some ways we can become more of a creator in our own lives?
I think it starts with identifying your strengths and passions. What do you enjoy doing? What knowledge or skills do you have to share?
So maybe instead of just liking someone else's post, I could create my own content about something I'm passionate about.
Exactly. It could be writing a blog post, starting a podcast, sharing your photography on Instagram. It's about finding your unique voice and contributing to the conversation.
That's a great point. It's about shifting our mindset from consuming to contributing. All right, we've covered 7 signs so far, and I'm already feeling inspired. But there's so much more to unpack.
8 more signs to explore, and each one offers valuable insights into the wealth-building mindset. Let's dive into the next one.
Okay, so sign number 8. This one really caught my attention. Work obsession. It seems a little counterintuitive, right? We're always told about work-life balance. But this article is suggesting that successful people are almost obsessed with their work.
Yeah, and I think the article makes a really good point about this. It's not really work if you're one of these people who's destined for riches. It's passion. It's something that you genuinely enjoy and that you're constantly thinking about, even in your downtime.
But doesn't that sound kind of exhausting? Is it even sustainable in the long run? Well, and that's the key difference. It's not about burning out. It's about harnessing that energy that comes from genuine passion. They're not just clocking in and out. They're immersed in like a marathon of mastery. They're constantly pushing themselves to learn and grow.
I love that analogy. So it's not really about the hours that you put in, but like the mindset that you bring to your work. Speaking of mindset, the next sign, financial stability first. This one seems a bit unexpected. Wouldn't you want to be taking huge risks if you're aiming for big wealth?
And that's where the nuance comes in, I think. The article really emphasizes the importance of building a really solid foundation before you take those major leaps. It's about shifting from survival mode to expansion mode.
So it's like making sure your basic needs are met and you kind of have a safety net before you start making, big investments or launching these risky ventures.
Exactly. Once you have that financial security, you can take calculated risks without jeopardizing everything you've worked for. It's about having that peace of mind to make clear-headed decisions. That makes a lot of sense, like building that solid base camp before you try to, climb Mount Everest. Okay, so on to sign number 11, multiple income streams. I've heard this advice before. But why is it so crucial for those who want to be rich?
Imagine if you have like multiple streams flowing into like a large reservoir. That's what having multiple income streams does for your finances. It not only cushions you against setbacks, like losing your job, but it also fosters that entrepreneurial mindset.
So it's about diversifying your income and always being on the lookout for new opportunities. I guess it also creates that sense of abundance, knowing that you're not relying on just one source of income.
Absolutely. And that abundance mindset is crucial for attracting wealth. It's about believing that there are always more opportunities out there. Okay, now sign number 12. This one I find particularly empowering. Strengths over weaknesses.
It kind of goes against that traditional advice of, being well-rounded, doesn't it? We're always told to work on our weaknesses.
Yeah. But the article argues that society often pushes us to be jacks of all trades. While wealth builders often become masters of one, they double down on their strengths and become specialists in their field.
So it's about recognizing your natural talents.
Yeah.
And focusing your energy on developing those skills to like a really high level.
Precisely. Think about some of the most successful people that you know. They're also known for being exceptional in one particular area. They've honed their craft to a point of mastery.
It makes you wonder if we're sometimes wasting time trying to be good at everything instead of great at something specific. Okay, let's talk about sign number 13, immunity to embarrassment. Why is this important in the context of building wealth?
Because putting yourself out there, taking risks and trying new things inevitably involves the possibility of failure or looking foolish. Successful individuals aren't afraid of those moments. They understand that ridicule often precedes breakthrough success.
It's like that saying, you have to be willing to look stupid to get smart.
Exactly. They have that thick skin and that unwavering belief in themselves. They don't let you know criticism or setbacks deter them. They know that every failure is a learning opportunity.
That's a powerful perspective. All right, sign number 14, fast action taker. Why is speed so crucial in this world of wealth building?
Because in today's fast-paced world, ideas are a dime a dozen. What separates the successful is their ability to act on those ideas swiftly, without hesitation.
So it's about seizing opportunities and not letting those ideas just languish. I guess it also prevents like overthinking and analysis paralysis.
Precisely. They have that bias towards action. Whether it's responding to an email, making a decision, or launching a project, they move quickly and decisively.
It's like striking while the iron is hot. And finally, we've reached sign number 15, fear of stagnation. What does this fear have to do with building wealth?
It's a powerful motivator. While most people avoid risk to prevent failure, those destined for riches fear being stuck more than they fear failing. They embrace challenges and they view mistakes as stepping stones to growth.
So it's that growth mindset in action, always pushing themselves beyond that comfort zone. So we've covered all 15 signs, but I feel like this conversation has just scratched the surface.
Oh, there's so much to unpack with each of these signs. It's not just about ticking them off on a checklist. It's about really understanding those deeper principles at play.
Exactly. It's about weaving these insights into our own lives and finding what resonates with us. What are some key takeaways you think our listeners should really focus on?
I think what's really remarkable is, all these 15 signs, they kind of paint a picture of the wealth building mindset. It's not about these, isolated traits. It's like a synergy, habits and beliefs and actions.
It is. It's like a recipe for success, right? Each ingredient contributes to that final outcome. And what's so empowering, I think, is that, it's not about luck or privilege. It's about making those conscious choices and cultivating those habits.
Yeah, and that's what I find so inspiring about, this deep dive. It's about really taking ownership of your financial future and realizing, you have the power to shape it. Absolutely. Regardless of your background or your current circumstances, you can increase your chances of achieving that success by adopting those principles, changing your mindset and your actions.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired, maybe even a little overwhelmed, what's like one practical step that they can take right now to kind of start applying these ideas?
I would say pick one thing, just one from these 15 signs that really resonated with you, and commit to implementing it into your life.
Yeah.
Start small, build momentum, and just watch what happens.
Okay, what if someone's struggling to even choose one? What advice would you give them?
I'd ask them to think about their biggest obstacle right now. Are they constantly distracted? Do they lack a clear vision? Are they afraid to take action? The answer might point them towards the sign that they need to focus on first.
That's a great way to kind of approach it. It's about identifying the area where you need the most growth right now. We've talked a lot about, signs of future wealth. But I think there's a deeper message here that goes beyond just money.
I agree with that. It's about like living a more intentional and fulfilling life overall. And these principles can apply to any area of your life, not just finances. Whether you're pursuing creative goals, building relationships, or improving your health, it's about aligning your actions with your values and embracing that growth mindset.
Yeah, it's about taking control of your life and creating that future that you want, one step at a time. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. What one thing will you do differently after this episode? What small step can you take today to move closer to that life you envision? Until next time, keep diving deep, my friends.